Number 10. The illusion of safety. Picture this. You've got a portfolio that looks like a buffet. Some stocks, some bonds, maybe a sprinkle of real estate investment trusts, and if you're feeling spicy, crypto. You lean back in your chair, sip your overpriced latte, and think, ah yes, I am now untouchable. Risk? Don't know her. But here's the fun part. Most of those different investments are actually best friends behind your back. Take stocks and bonds, for example. The ancient rule of finance says they move in opposite directions. If stocks go down, bonds cushion the blow. Cute story, until the last few years when they both decided to nosedive together like two drunk friends doing a cannonball at the shallow end. Diversification only works if the assets are truly uncorrelated. But in a globalized economy, when panic hits, everything tends to scream and run out the same fire exit. Psychologically, though, your brain loves the idea of safety. Diversification is like carrying an umbrella in case it rains, even though you're also standing in a hurricane. You feel secure, but in reality, you're just holding a useless stick while Mother Nature throws a lamppost at your head. So yes, spreading your money around can reduce risk in theory. But if all your different bets depend on the same big picture, interest rates, inflation, global markets, then your diversification is basically just wearing a disguise at your own family reunion. Everyone still knows who you are, and you're still getting tackled when the drama starts. Number 9. The myth of more equals better. You've heard it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Solid advice, unless you're the Easter Bunny. So people assume the fix is simple. Just get more baskets. But here's where your brain does that sneaky thing called overconfidence. You think that the more investments you hold, the safer you are. Except, imagine filling your room with 47 identical IKEA chairs. Technically, you have variety. Realistically, you're just living in a chair prison. Adding more investments doesn't automatically mean better diversification if they're all linked by the same economic strings. You're just multiplying chairs, not changing furniture. Behavioral economists call this naive diversification. You spread your money around like peanut butter, equally across everything, whether or not it makes sense. Your brain feels good because it sees more as safer. But in practice, you just end up owning a watered-down, copy-paste version of the market itself. It's like ordering every single item at Taco Bell. Sounds bold, but it's still all tortillas, cheese, and regret. The irony, the more assets you add, the less you understand them. People end up with portfolios so bloated they couldn't explain them if their life depended on it. They just say, it's diversified, like it's a magic spell. Spoiler, it's not. It's just financial clutter. Number 8. The hidden correlation trap. Imagine believing you're a genius because you've invested in airlines and oil companies. Different industries, right? Wrong. They're basically like a toxic couple. One can't move without dragging the other into a screaming match. If oil prices rise, airlines get wrecked. If oil prices fall, oil companies get wrecked. Diversified? Technically. Effective? Not unless you enjoy watching a double car crash. This is the hidden correlation problem. Things look independent, but underneath, they're riding the same roller coaster. Tech stocks and semiconductor companies? Joined at the hip. Real estate and construction? Siamese twins. Even your international stocks aren't safe. When America sneezes, Europe and Asia pull out the same tissue box. Your brain doesn't naturally detect these hidden relationships because it likes clean categories. This one is tech, this one is energy. Totally different. Nope. Underneath, they're both chained to the same economic anchors. It's like trying to diversify your diet by eating fries from McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. Congratulations, you just invented the cholesterol portfolio. So yes, diversification promises safety, but it often hides the fact that you're just rearranging deck chairs on the same sinking ship. And when the water hits your ankles, you'll realize that your lifeboats are all tied together. Hold up, quick pause. If you're thinking, that's weird, but kinda genius, then you have to share this video with someone else who loves shady facts and money secrets the banks would never tell you. Drop a comment below, even if it's just, I watched this while avoiding real responsibilities. And hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next? It's weirder, it's smarter, and maybe richer. Number 7. The over-diversification paradox. Okay, let's say you take diversification seriously, like really seriously. You don't just own some stocks, you own all the stocks. A little Tesla, a pinch of Coca-Cola, a suspicious serving of that sketchy penny stock your cousin Gary swears is about to moon. You also got ETFs, mutual funds, REITs, bonds, crypto, gold, farmland in Nebraska, maybe even a goat rental business in case weddings become rustic again. You're diversified to the point of exhaustion. Here's the kicker. When you own too many different things, you basically stop beating the market because you are the market. Congratulations, you've become the financial equivalent of vanilla ice cream. Everyone eats it, no one's impressed. Sure, you're safe, but you've traded away any chance of outperformance. Psychologists call this the paradox of choice. When you have too many options, you end up with less satisfaction, not more. Investors fall into this same trap by over-diversifying. Instead of taking smart, focused bets, they turn their portfolio into a Costco sample aisle. Tiny, flavorless bites of everything, but never enough to actually enjoy. And the punchline? Most people who over-diversify don't even realize they're just paying extra fees to own a glorified copy of the S&P 500. It's like buying bottled water from a tap in your own kitchen. Number 6. Herd diversification. Let's talk about everyone's favorite animal, the herd. You see your coworkers bragging about buying Apple, so you buy Apple. Your neighbor swears real estate is the key, so you dabble in REITs. TikTok says Bitcoin is the future, so now you're suddenly a crypto investor. On paper, it looks like you've spread your risk. In reality, you've just followed everyone else into the same crowded field. This is where psychology really messes with you. Humans are hardwired to feel safer in groups. Cavemen didn't survive by saying, "Actually, I'll go hunt alone, thanks." So when it comes to investing, your brain defaults to, if everyone else is doing it, it must be smart. That's how bubbles happen. Tulips, dot-com stocks, NFTs, you name it. Everyone diversifies into the same thing at the same time, which defeats a whole point. Ironically, herd diversification feels less scary because you don't have to justify your choices. If it crashes, hey, you're going down with the crowd. Psychologists call this social proof. It's the reason people clap at concerts even when the performance was mid. Nobody wants to be the lone weirdo sitting there in silence. But here's the truth bomb. Diversifying into the same assets as the herd isn't real protection. It's like saying you're safe from a stampede because you're in the middle of it. Spoiler, you're still getting trampled. Number 5. The DIY diversification mirage. So you decide to skip the financial advisor fees and DIY your diversification. Smart move, right? I mean, who needs a suit-wearing money manager when you've got a Robinhood account and 3 YouTube tutorials? You sprinkle some cash here, some there, and boom, you've built your own fortress of financial security. Or have you? Here's the issue. Most DIY investors confuse busyness with smartness. Owning 5 different ETFs feels diversified until you realize that 4 of them are basically just rewrapping the same 500 companies in different flavors. You're not diversified, you're just eating the same pie in slightly different slices. The psychology behind this is called the illusion of control. When you handpick investments, you feel like you've mastered the game, like a kid who thinks he's steering the car with a toy wheel in the back seat. In reality, the market is driving and you're just rattling plastic. Even worse, DIY diversification tends to ignore boring but essential stuff, like international exposure or actual asset classes beyond stocks. People avoid them because they're complicated, not sexy, and don't make for cool TikTok flexes. So they just build a portfolio that looks diversified at first glance, but collapses faster than a Jenga tower when the economy sneezes. Basically, your DIY portfolio is like IKEA furniture. It looks sturdy until you actually sit on it. Oh, and before you go, we drop 2 new videos every week. One on Tuesday, one on Saturday. So if you like smart takes with a twist, make sure to come back. We'll be here digging deeper.